Hey, we are live at 5. Wow, what a day, huh? What a day. I have enjoyed, I tell you, I've enjoyed so much interacting with you and reading your post and hearing about your experience and seeing the amount of effort that you're putting into this to have a new experience and to really get your creative potential, get connected with that, unleashing whatever it is you're going to be moving into. And I'm always so excited that it's not what you thought it was. And that's how it's been for me too. You know, creativity takes us to places we do not plan to go. All right, it just is, and I'm just delighted, and uh, it just blesses me a lot to have you even want to come together, and I have been waiting to and cultivating this kind of opportunity for quite a while. I really have. So anyhow, I'm talking to one other person. Hey, Kendall. We'll have some others join us, I'm sure, and they'll be dropping in. I'll tell you, it's been a little frustrating because Facebook's upgrade and has really, it's got a lot of great attributes to it. However, when you're using other components with Facebook, it can be very frustrating. And StreamYard is a fabulous way to stream videos, and it's working fine, but Facebook is not talking to StreamYard really well right now. And so the notices that we normally get that are easy to find are getting buried, and I apologize for that. So hey, Nancy, hello, how are you? And so anyway, I was just trying to put a post on my iPad here that I'm live, just to kind of have it, see if it would come up in the feed. But then for some reason that wasn't going through. So anyhow, so we'll get started because I have a lot of ground to cover. I talked to you today, and we went over the what, the why, and I told you the how I would cover tonight. And I'll do that as I introduce you to this creative process that I can't say that I created it. I was aware that it was happening. And so, a lot of our creative aspirations come when we're just awake and aware. And so I just encourage you with that. I hope this story about Creative ReConExMe is one that inspires you, because this is a story of a painting experience that developed through my struggle and my triumphs, okay, in trying to reconnect with myself. Now, granted, I wasn't so disconnected, I didn't know who I was. I was just, the struggle is that I was not I was not really walking in my current woman, so to speak. All right. I was still wearing a lot of the old stuff. I was doing what was familiar, and I was going through the motions, and I was using the information I had, but I didn't realize that I was getting in my own way. I was causing a lot of difficulty. And so the struggle, is real. It is real. And I don't think this is going to prevent me from having other struggles, because I feel like, just like I said earlier on in day one, the frustration, the struggle it's not to be feared or shamed or condemned. It's about just saying, there's an opportunity here. I have a choice. And that's the difference. But when you're in the struggle, it doesn't always come to you like that. Like, oh, I think all this pain, something's going on that and I'm excited. We get there, but we have to kind of, in our own human condition, we're like, we go default into trying to fix it. And like I've shared with you, thinking that we've done something wrong and wanting to, arrange things so that we're back on track. And the fact is that we weren't wired to do that, on a regular basis on this kind of thing. Yes, we're supposed to align ourselves. And of course we have consciousness, we have values and things like that. But when we come up against ourselves on the canvas, for instance, and we get stuck. All right. It's real easy to walk away from it and think, wow, this isn't for me. What was I thinking? Who do I think I am? I shouldn't have done this, or I invested the money in that, and look at that. That cost me a lot. This is all the cost of learning and of growing, and it's the cost of education. I mean, I've spent thousands of dollars over the years getting educated, so I value education. But education in and of itself doesn't really do too much for too long. Okay. And that's why I want to inspire you with this program that I have, because this workshop has been very inspiring. But I will tell you, most of us, okay, have had these inspirations. And then what happens is that we go off and we fizzle out. And sometimes that happens very quickly. We lose the inspiration. That wind or wave that we were riding, it's not happening. And now we're not in this group. We're not doing things together. And so there's no accountability or structure. There's not, that sense of urgency that we had when we say, okay, this is the assignment for today. This is what we're going to do this week. This is how we're going to roll it. We get used to that rhythm, and it works so well. So, let me help you out a little bit. Let me tell you, we've got some options. I don't want you to be overwhelmed, and I want you to continue on this journey, and I want you to keep in contact with your flow. I want you to be in that, and there's a lot of ways to do that. Okay, so one of the ways is, and I told you earlier today, is to stay in the Evolve Yourself Creatively group. Okay, there's things going on every month there. I'm live every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that's free. You participate as much as you want. There's no sense of urgency. There's no, the only accountability is if you check in, yourself. So, you can grow that muscle, and you can decide to use these principles of strategy, tactics, and implementation, and you can utilize the group, and you can do very well. So this is another option. And for those of you who are really this is it. I am tired of the back and forth. I'm tired of the merry-go-round. I'm ready to really commit to this. I'm tracking now. I'm ready to make a move. I'm ready to press in and invest in myself, both the time and financially. And so I just want to share with you a little bit about the program. Now, tonight, I can't give you the whole program, but when you finished with me tonight, you're going to have a good sense of what it is. So that's free. That's for you. And like I said earlier, I said, it blesses me that you're here. I want you to receive whatever it is that you are receiving. You have the group that we're in right now with the workshop. You're supposed to, ask me questions and share with me your homework so that, again, I can help you facilitate that move forward. Okay. We're getting out of this place of being stuck and settling for what is, and we're really breaking free of some mindset things that have really kept you stuck. All right. And so it's not about having the supplies. It's not about having the space. No, all that stuff comes when your mindset is in the right space. Okay. And that mindset directly has to do with your strategy. So it's about really making a decision, and that's the biggest part, is deciding that this is it. This is my time. All right. And I think most of us here have, we've lived a good first half of our life. All right. And I said to myself last year, hey, I'm in the second half of my life. What do I want to do? Why wait? I want to jump in, and I want to have at it, so to speak. This is my time. And so again, just because I made that decision doesn't mean everything's going to fall into place, but I had to make that decision first. And now this is where we're at. So I could talk about, I don't want to get off track, and I want to really be, I want to steward this time well. All right. So what I will tell you is I'm going to bring the presentation in, and we're going to kind of get going. So the name of the course is Connect Your Soul-Centered, Heart-Driven Self. All right, creatively. And I want you to be transformed. It's based on the creativity ReConExMe process, and that's a 4-cycle process that I'm going to tell you all about. All right, that's where we're headed. So there we go. Without any further ado, we're gonna roll. So what I wanted to tell you before we move into it was, I was thinking about what was it that was keeping me awake at night. Okay. And the awareness that I wasn't merely a 30-year older version of my 25-year-old self. I was thinking, wow, wow. And it's like, what I didn't know is that while I was busy, and you know how we women, we can be really busy. We know how to do that, don't we? That I had become conditioned to that way of living. Okay, where I just adapted for the good of others. So if I was at home or at work or, really any kind of people groups, I just adapted. Like, whatever you need, okay, I can do that. So, we kind of morph, and as creatives, we do that. We kind of morph and change and become a part of this. And it is exciting. It's a gift, but there's a seasons for that stuff. And so if you're frustrated, chances are there's some of that stuff that, that's expired. We don't need to be doing that. We've got too many plates in the air. So which plates are options? Which plates are not necessary? What plates are not necessary now? And what plates are not necessary for me to be handling? All right. So we have choices. A lot of times I pick up things and take on responsibility that I wasn't even asked to do. Anybody else that like that? You know what? And I find that that's when, my need to be a part of something or a group is greater, is greater than normal. And I think we need people. I need people. I need to communicate with others and be inspired by being a part of groups. But it's okay for me to be a part of something and not be a doer all the time, not be in charge, not have all the best ideas. I had to learn that, what, Sarah, maybe it was my self-esteem that was a little bit off. And if I could just be, I didn't want people to think that I wasn't willing to participate. I didn't want them to think that I expected them to do everything and I wouldn't, contribute. No. That's not what I'm saying. But so many times we don't know how to be a part of something. I had a friend, and I'm going to take a sip of water real quick. I was, this was back in 2002. I had, in 1996, I think it was. 1996, I opened my first business location. And it was exciting. It was a lot of fun. I had I think I had 9 service operators, and I had a bath and beauty market, and I had all kinds of things going, and it was fun. And about 4 or 5 years into it, I realized that I was growing people up, and by the time I got home, I didn't have anything left for my family. I just felt so empty, and I didn't like the way that felt. And I didn't know how to stay where I was and grow through that. And so I chose to close that location. And I went in by myself. I didn't close the business. I went in by myself to a doctor's office. And I was working by myself. I didn't know what to let go of and what to hold on to. But I'll tell you, it was what I needed to do to be able to grow through that and understand what was it about that situation that I needed to learn from, and what it was is I was trying to be all things to all people, and I didn't know how not to be. All right. Because I am a natural, like I love to pass information on. So, I was constantly training the staff. I loved it. I was passing on things, and it was more than what, more than I should have been doing. And I know that because, first of all, I'd get home and I didn't have it for my family. So anyway, So sometimes we have those kinds of situations where we're doing more than what's necessary. And let me tell you, when we're trying to be all things to all people, we're really not being anything to, you know, at all. And it doesn't get us anywhere. We don't have that satisfaction. And so it does take a lot of sacrifice to want to turn and shift things around. Like the wheel had to start turning the other way around. For me at that season, I had to totally remove myself and work on myself and do what was right for me. So I kept my practice. You know, I still have that same practice today. And it's over 25 years old, and I've had lots of different seasons with that. And I did what was right for me because I needed to. All right. So over time, I'm cultivating this quality of being able to be, and my self-esteem is stronger because I'm not so worried about what other people are thinking about me. I don't need to be the best or the only one. I just need to be able to be. And there's a lot of freedom in that. Okay. So one of the stories I had during this transition was, and maybe you can identify with this, maybe it's the why behind some of your frustration or disappointment, or, you know, maybe you're feeling envious or fearful or have self-doubt that you've been, you know, who wants that? But a lot of times those fears and self-doubts are like a constant companion, right? I just want to get rid of them. I don't know how to let them go. But I need to if I'm going to take that leap of faith. So, you know, one night I was sitting quietly and I was just really, I was distraught, and I was just like, just speaking out and saying, hey, you know, I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know who I'm talking to, but, you know, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. You know, I didn't feel like I was thriving. I really wanted something more, you know, I didn't feel like what I was doing had meaning. And I had this overall, like this awareness come on me, and this knowingness. And it was this: just because you can doesn't mean I want you to. And, you know, I felt like God was just letting me know that, you know what? And with that, I just let him kind of speak over me. And I really felt like he was lifting me up, saying, you are a blessed woman. You are gifted and talented. But just because you can doesn't mean I want you to. And I think what he was speaking very gently into me is that I didn't need to strive. I didn't need to figure all of this stuff out. Okay. I need to do what I can to the best of my ability, but know that that is just enough. All right. That's enough. So what you may not realize is that your soul is yearning to thrive. Maybe it's craving some meaning and magic and heart so that you can become soul-centered and heart-driven. But maybe you don't know where to begin. All right. So let's talk a little bit about it. You know, where do we begin when we don't know what's right for us? Huh? I mean, over time, friendships fail and become difficult. You know, maybe you feel like you're easily irritated and you push others away when you really want to be held. How many times has that happened? You know, you might anger easily, which takes on a different shape or form. You know, it could be a mild irritation to envy to, you know, maybe your emotional outbursts start coming up and you're feeling sorry for yourself, or maybe with your art, you get stuck and blocked and, you know, you're standing in front of the canvas, but this critical parent just won't let up. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you have trouble creating or living on an emotional level because you feel ashamed that you don't have all the answers. Or maybe you've lost the ability to be flexible, or can't even, you know, have a new creative inspiration. So what about forgive and forget? You know, that's for us too. You know, it's tough because we're unaware that it's us that needs fixing and help. Okay, so it's not them, but it's us. And so reinforcing, again, our sense of aloneness. And that can be quite difficult. Because it brings up all kinds of things. That's the very kind of thing that kicks up and starts connecting dots between that bad Crayola story, right? Or some other things that have not gone the way you thought they should go. Or maybe just maybe, you know, you're in a point in your life where you feel like You know what? I never thought it was going to be like this. I didn't dream about this. So once we're aware, we can look back and see, the telltale signs of that progression, of being out of touch with ourselves. What's so baffling is that the tendencies come out of just everyday living and hardships. But when we're not equipped emotionally and spiritually, the natural instincts, what happens is they just start exceeding their intended purpose. Okay. So it's really not, anger is, it's an emotion. There's nothing wrong with being angry. But once it exceeds the intended purpose, which is to flag us down and say, hey, you have an opportunity here. Let's pause. But we don't always see that. We're not always in that space. So we need to build up that bank. We need to practice living creatively so that when life happens, we're going to be in the realm of okayness. We're going to still be in that sphere of being sane. and we want to do that because I found that many other women like myself will suffer in silence for fears that other people will find out that they're not all that after all. Oh my goodness. And that's not a good place to be. So listen, when you think you should have all the answers, it's easy to get stuck in a perpetual cycle of striving. And if you've spent a lot of time, money, and energy trying all kinds of traditional practices, gratitude lists, visions boards, meditation, prayer, affirmations, classes, self-help books, there's so many things out there, and we get the temporary relief. Thank goodness, right? But when you're tired of getting temporary relief and you want something more sustainable, that's when we need to look for something. You want to be transformed. You want to live out of a place of rest, for instance, where you still take action, but it's out of a rest. The rest is because you trust and believe the process. And the only way we can come to trust and believe the process is to practice. And that's why I gave you the 3 art intuitive exercises. Those are just they're so helpful that when all else fails, we practice those and we find our track again. We find our flow, because when we're in the flow, we will continue to transform. We will find the inner peace. So stop. You don't need to keep searching out all kinds of new things. And certainly I don't want to discourage you from learning more and availing yourself to inspiration. But listen, stay where you are right now. Practice these tools, and then the rest will come to you. It will. It's going to put you in a centeredness and into that place where you're going to be an open channel because you're flowing. And so naturally creation will depend on you. You're going to become a dependable conduit for the flow, because that's really what it is. Our creativity is like currency. It flows. It's supposed to have exchanges. It increases. The more we use, the more we get. So if we're not using our creativity, we can't expect to be creative and keep experiencing more and get upgrades on our creative abilities and up levels on our skills, because we've got to use what we have first. It's just how I believe it's how heaven works. Heaven, it just comes down. Seek and you shall find, it says. So the more we seek and connect with creativity, the more we'll have. It's a promise. So, I would say challenge the promise. I don't think creation is going to be too worried about us. So try it, really. And listen, this is the struggle. It's really our identity that we're struggling with. Who are we today? Who are we in this situation, in this circumstance? If we're not, it's like I have grown children. So they don't need me like they needed me in the past. They still need me. It's a different way. If I'm not open to how they need me today, then they're not going to seek me out, because I'm going to be stuck in the past, and that's not helpful to where they are. So they'll find it somewhere else. The flow is like water. Water goes to the easiest. Think about it. You just drop water and you'll see. Play with water droplets. It's amazing to see how they run. They run to the easiest. They will go to the easiest route. All right. They'll be taken to places. And that's how relationships are. That's how our creativity is. Our creativity is going to flow. It's messy and it can be painful. Some of the things I've been saying this week, maybe poking holes in your thinking. I hope so. But I know for me, those kinds of things aren't always easy to hear. So maybe since I've been on this side of the computer screen, maybe it's a little easier for you to receive. I don't know. But I'll teach you my methods and processes because I want to help you find a way to live creatively. And your consistency is going to help you establish a sustainable discipline and acknowledging your past influences on your present. So I'm going to offer you the guidance as we walk through your past and heal into the present. Think about that. We are going to walk through our past because there's data there. There's some good nuggets that we want to pull from the past and bring into the present. And in the same time, it's going to be healing some old wounds and cutting some ties and really releasing you from places that have been shut off and abandoned for all practical purposes. So you're going to find living creatively not only to be done when you feel like it, but because to be a well-integrated person, you need to do that. And you want to be happy, useful, and whole. All right? You really do. So your creativity can teach you how to stop repeating the same mistakes over again and break free from the obligation or habit of being responsible for others. Okay? Again, when we do what's right for us, it's right for others. You may be like everybody. You may be maybe like people to think, wow, like I can count on her. She always takes care of things, she's always there to reach out to when I need something done or when it has to get done in a certain time or going that extra mile. You're always there, except that it's not always working anymore. I mean, it was good for a time. And I'm not saying you're going to be selfish or not do things like that anymore. But at some point, you have to value yourself. And again, I found that being the epitome of responsibility when it comes to your job or children or relationships or appearance or social commitments, it ended up bankrupting me spiritually and emotionally. And like I said, so it's the struggle and the triumph that's helped me to really overcome and really begin living creatively. It was a necessity for me. It wasn't really like, it wasn't a choice at that moment. It was a gift. So that's really what it boils down to. So I want to help you evolve yourself so that you can create the art in the life your soul craves. Okay. And if you're still too enmeshed in being responsible for people and you're not just stepping back and being responsible to them, it's going to be very difficult for you. So I hope that helps you. So instead of responsible for others, could you consider what it might be like if you just were responsible to them? All right. I didn't know that when I closed my first location. I didn't know how to be responsible to the employees because I only knew how to be responsible for them. I had so much fear that they were going to leave, and I could not on my own do all the work that was needing to be done. That was really what it boiled down to. So for me to learn that, I had to remove myself. And I had to go through some more pain. And I came around and I figured out, wow, that's what I needed to learn. Okay, so things do come around. And thank goodness we keep growing up. So when we do what's right for you, it's right for everyone else. And you'll find that it feels good. It feels good to be who we are. It's a powerful example because everybody else needs to do that too. So this is what it takes to up-level your art. It means do what's right for you creatively. So you can stop trying to be who you think others need you to be or want you to be. And you're going to join me on this simple path to let creativity help you. And it's going to help you because as you continue, you're going to shed your old nature and you're going to step into your happy, useful, and whole self. Okay? Really. So I want you to connect with your soul-centered, heart-driven self creatively. Okay? Because you deserve it to infuse your art and life with meaning, magic, and heart. Feel great again and thrive. That's been my experience. So that by the end of these 4 cycles I'm going to talk to you about, you have learned the nature of your frustration. You'd started taking the necessary action steps and begun living out of the freedom. That's what you're doing now in the workshop. You're really embarking in this because I've taken a big chunk out of this program and given it to you in this workshop. There's a lot of advantages by participating in what I call creative art encounters. So I guide you through several of those during the process, and you're going to learn how to develop a true and sound relationship with that inner dialogue. Okay, so we're going to get out of the head with a critical parent, and we're going to move down into the heart and connect with that inner dialogue. And pretty soon what you're going to find is that your thinking is going to begin to submit to the spirit. So it's going to come under this spirit and it's going to shift. So you're going to have a lot more self-loving thoughts, trusting thoughts that you can really believe and trust. And that's super powerful. And that's so important when you're painting or when you're busy creating, because if you're sitting there or standing or moving or whatever it is you're doing and you don't believe in yourself, if you're not there to emotionally and spiritually support yourself, this is how we get stuck. This is how we get discouraged. So we need to break free of that. So like I told you, Creativity Reconnects Me. That's this process that I have created based on my experience of taking myself from struggle to triumph. And it's repeated and I've repeated this over and over. So I know it didn't just work once. It's not just for me, it's worked with others as well. And so like I told you last fall, I introduced this first cycle, retreat. Why? Because I was a chicken. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I put this out here and I can't handle it? And I really had never had a full on online experience with others. And I'm such a people person. I love small groups. I love working, face to face. And I really wasn't sure about it. So I was a chicken. So I just put a little piece out there and we had a very good time. And so I thought, I never can do that again. I always have to put it out all together. And so I've worked really hard to really put it together in a good, simple way that you can definitely move from right through a transformation. Okay, from not having any strategy or feeling like you can't produce or being stuck, all the way to finding your flow and not now having found that creative outlet, so to speak, that you have a relationship with it through this process. So by the time you get done with it, this creativity is connected to you, and now you have a better relationship with yourself. So we first begin with, in this workshop, beginning that process of discovering this creative outlet and the power of it, and knowing that creativity is not just a hobby. It's not just something that I do. It doesn't just cost a lot of money. It's not just difficult. There's so much more than that. It is all of those things. But creativity, now we can use that to connect to our insides, and that's where the meaningful magic and heart stuff comes, because it helps us to discover ourselves. So each of the cycles is designed to prepare us for the next. So the first one is a retreat. So retreat is a period where we have a group withdrawal. There's prayer, meditation, study, and I direct that. We move into the connect cycle, which is a place to establish a relationship. That's using color. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about each of these cycles, but we use color to connect us to our insides. And then we go from there into explore, where we start becoming familiar with testing and experimenting. Okay, so we become childlike. We really just let nature teach us about ourselves and why nature is the way it is and what it does for each of us. Okay, my experience with nature is going to be different than yours. It's exciting to, as a collective, have experiences and then be able to share that. So we get to see lots of different facets of creation when we work with groups, and that's exciting. And then the last cycle is metamorphose, and that's all about having an abrupt or startling change. And that's us. We're going to change, induced by or as a supernatural power. I told you, we're all gifted. We've got things inside of us, accomplishments and just all kinds of things that we're going to be walking through in these next seasons of our life. And so we want to connect and engage with a supernatural power. And I don't want you to be afraid of that, because supernatural simply means it's beyond our power. So this means that we are going to co-labor with the creation, co-labor with our creator. And we are going to really come into the women that we were designed to be. And maybe you've come into those places before. I know I have. But you know what? We will constantly be evolving. And so don't settle for what you've been having or what wasn't, what you've had in the past. Don't try and get back there. Move forward. We don't want to get complacent and just go back to something because we know about it, because we're familiar. So we are all ready to move forward, and that's it. I want to connect with my inside being, get a quiet mind and spirit and have a new experience. All right. So during this 9-week creative encounter, I'm going to show you everything you need to do, to use, to practice, so you can achieve similar results. Okay. I want you to free yourself and enjoy a more satisfying and meaningful life. All right. So cycle 1 is the retreat. And so we're going to set aside 3 days to intentionally connect with your creativity. So it's going to be exciting because you've really got a good connection now. You've got your flow, and you're going to start experimenting with traditional and creative practices, and they're purposed for what I call conception, because we're birthing our creative spirit. All right. You'll want to form and design your creative plan and bring in some ideas so you can begin creating a more satisfying and meaningful life and art. All right. So it's like an onboarding process for the next part of your creative adventure, so to speak. So connect is where you learn the language of color. All right. Your creativity is connected, and you're refreshing your mindset and developing your skills with color. Okay. We're going to play with color. We're going to blend color. We're going to use color with different tools, different brushes, and learn how to edit and work with color and let it be visceral for us. Color can help us to stir up our curiosity and imagination. So I really think because it's such a gentle, non-invasive healing tool, it helps us to shift from doers to beers. All right. So we can start to shift that and connect to ourselves in a more meaningful way, because, in doing that, we're going to become more childlike. All right. So we discover new freedom, and we're able to express ourselves more freely. And doesn't that feel better? I mean, don't you just want to stretch, open up your heart? I mean, right now, that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, I'll just bring myself back into the screen here. I just want to, just stretch out, right? And just find a way to get out of the box. And color can do that. It really can. It takes our focus and it puts it where it needs to be. This painting behind me, it's gone through different phases. I started this, I don't know, almost 3 years ago. And I keep working on it in different layers. So if you work with me, you're going to see the different processes. And so anyway, but right now, where this is at, it really, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need to understand. I was going through a period of time where I was just so focused on the tree I couldn't see the forest. And you could see I put my focus on the tree. It's this woman who's a tree. All right. And one day I looked over and I thought, oh my gosh, look at the forest. But I think because I was just trying to perfect and I just was trying to get her just so. And then I was also kept working on her because I kept thinking, what the heck is she doing right there? You know, do you ever have that kind of a experience where you're like, I love her, but why did I put her there? And I was like, well, she's a tree, she's a tree. Okay. So I guess I was just so consumed with trying to figure that out because, somebody comes to my house and they always want to see what I'm painting. What are you painting? What are you painting? And, they want to hear all about it and everything. And I thought, what am I going to tell them about that? Like she's up in a tree. Anyway, I had to get over myself because I'm always reminded, I'm like, Sarah, it just never fails. When I work with one of my creative clients, I end up speaking something out that my own head needs to hear. And again, that's one of the delights that I have in working with others is that it keeps me growing. We're all growing together and we just inspire each other to stretch and grow. And it's exciting. So right now, this painting, I'm looking at it more for the forest because I've realized sometimes we need to stop looking at the forest and we need to look at the tree. We need to look at ourselves, right? And sometimes we have to stop navel gazing, looking at ourselves, and we need to look at the big picture. We need to look at the forest. Where do we fit into this? What is this going to look like for me? So we can meditate on this from both sides of it, right? It's valuable. It's useful. It's helped me, minister to me so many times. I can just look over there and think, where's my focus today? Where does it need to be? And what am I willing to focus on today? It's exciting. It really is. It's exciting. I can't say it enough. Okay, so moving right along. Okay, so we pretty much finished that. On to cycle 3 for Explore. Explore is all about, I just love it. It's based on the first 7 days of creation. And we use nature. Nature's our best teacher to be empowered using the principles of process and layers because each day something's added to, right? So we take stock of our values. We uncover the beliefs that underneath there, like what's under that layer? What does that layer do for you? Has it covered up anything? Is it highlighting anything? I use a lot of different metaphors with this. And of course, there's just so much packed into that, again, you're not going to be afraid any longer to be bold. You're going to be able to paint with a lot of confidence and realize that there's no mistakes. And so layers become your friend. Process becomes your friend. You're no longer hung up on trying to figure it all out. Because you'll be discovering new truths and starting to develop that intuitive conversation. You're going to get a sustainable practice because you'll be continually transforming. And as you do, it's so encouraging because you don't want to stop. So many times I've said, oh my gosh, I'm just so curious. If nothing else, I'm going to stay in this because I'm curious. Like, I don't know where this is taking me, but if I don't go, I'm not going to know, right? So we go through all of that and it starts coming together. We start coming up with some newfound ideas about ourself, our emotions, and we release these step by step onto a physical form. It's paint a transformational self-portrait, okay? And it's awesome because here you're going to depict yourself as the hero in your own story. All right, you're going to tell your story. This is who I am. This is, and your voice is going to be there because you've shed your old nature and you're birthing this new identity. So your voice comes out, you're emerging, and it's all because this creative power has been helping you and has met these needs and made the necessary adjustments. And that's what I want to really assure you, that this is not about just now, that this practice, it's sustainable, but it's for forever. It's a lifestyle because you'll be able to make all the necessary adjustments through your life journey. All right. And it's so practical. It really is. It's simple, creative, and practical. It makes, it really softens up the blows, so to speak, of those ego deflating life moments and that sort of thing. So I just want to encourage you. Now, during this self-discovery program, this is what you're going to get. Okay, you're going to say, okay, this is great. 4 cycles. I kind of have an idea what's going on. What does that look like? Well, what this looks like is, and these are the tactics, right? Because we have a strategy. The strategy is those 4 cycles, and we're going to transform. So now this is the tactics. We're going to have weekly accountability and creative group coaching. Weekly Q&As plus hot seat opportunities. What's a hot seat? A hot seat is something you sign up for. That means I'm going to open up a certain amount of time for free coaching. So you want to, whatever project part you're working on in the program, this is all about the program, you'll bring that to me, and we will have hot seat opportunities, okay? And you'll get free coaching that way. Like I said, you're going to have a sustainable practice of self-discovery, weekly live videos, weekly Facebook posts with course details. Now, all of these, if you're not able to make them live, they're going to be available for replay. And that's the good news. This fits into your schedule. Now, of course, some of these things you'll be able to change your schedule up and work into, and others you're going to have to make up your own schedule because you'll be working with replays. But each week, you'll get step-by-step instructions with PDFs and videos that you'll watch at your own leisure, daily motivational messages, and you'll get downloadable journals and workbooks. I think you've had a little taste of what I do as far as workbooks and videos and Q&As. So you've had some experience with me. And we're going to have some live implementation weekends. All right. That means that we're going to meet on the weekends periodically, not every weekend. But I think there's 2 for sure. Sometimes I do bonuses, or I'll change it up a little bit. Depends on what the group is, how it's rolling. But the live implementation is really exciting. I usually have 3 or 4 sessions on the weekend. So it could be a Saturday, a morning and an afternoon, and then Sunday morning and sometimes an afternoon. And then you'll have access to a private Facebook group. So it's really a very full program. I know that some of you have been in my classes before, so you know what to expect. I always try and exceed your expectations. I want to make sure that you get the result that you're looking for, and I want to be able to, fulfill my promise. All right. So I don't see any questions in the chat box. I see a lot of comments and good vibes. Thank you very much. All right. Good stuff. And so we will wrap up. Okay. So right now I'm going to finish up this video, and I'm going to open the cart. The 9-week program right now, today through midnight, for the first 5 is $657. All right. It's the fast action bonus. Not only do you get a $40 break, because it's going to be $697 tomorrow. But you're also, if you act before midnight, you get 2 one-hour coaching sessions during the course of the 9 weeks. So you'll schedule those. It's all about your course, and that has a $285 value. So you have the ability to save, I don't know, $330 or something if you act before midnight tonight, or the first 5 to do that. Now, I will close this up shortly, and then I have to just turn those on, so to speak. I'm pretty sure I did turn them on, but just, you might want to give me a minute or 2. I will put the link in the group so that it's easy to get to. And if you have questions about the group, questions about the program, you can certainly ask me those questions in the group. And if you want to direct message me or email me, I'm available that way as well. So if you want to, I also have some coaching calls. If you want to schedule a discovery call where you want to talk a little bit before you decide, that's okay. I don't have that available this evening, not the coaching calls. That's available from tomorrow on. But tonight, I'm not available to speak, but I can answer questions in the group. Okay, so I will be happy to do that. So I'm excited. I look forward to those who are wanting to press on and really get in there and commit to this flow and now bring this flow and connect with it on a deeper level for a more intimate relationship with yourself, with others, with the God of your understanding, so that you can just have a life and art that's infused with that happy, whole, magical, with meaning. You know, you'll feel great, you'll thrive, and that's that. Yeah, I'm actually feeling like I could chit chat for a little while and be giddy, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to take up your time. Like I said, I like to steward time well, and so anyway, it's been a great day. You take care, and I will see you in the group tomorrow. Alrighty. Good night.